Last video, I made a top-down mini golf game in C++ with SFML. It wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't good, like most of my games. I didn't know how to use sprites and textures, so the whole game was made from squares and circles. This time though, I'm going to improve my game making skills in C++ by adding textures and trying to make a web build for this game, so it can be played in your web browser. Oh, also, I only have 4 days to do it. Day 1. I started off by brainstorming an idea for the game. I was originally planning to make a 2D racing game, but that idea was a bit overdone. I did like the idea of implementing car physics into my game though, so instead of racing cars, I had made it so you're racing to get a parking spot. I started by rendering a window with SFML, and then created my car in Paint. Yes, it looks really bad, but that's not important. I'll change it soon enough. To make the car move, I added the cosine and sine of its angle to its x and y values, and added a simple acceleration system to the movement. To steer, I multiplied the velocity of the car to which direction you're turning in, so if you weren't moving, you also couldn't turn. I also had the rotation pivot point of the car move to its back wheels, so it looks like you're turning with the front wheels. I then added a tile map to the background, which also looks terrible. I started getting errors when loading my textures into the game, and I found out it was because I was loading too many images for SFML. So instead of having a bunch of different files for each texture, I made 2 texture maps, one for the sprites and one for the tiles. I then realized that my tiles looked terrible, so I changed them and made them look much more clean and regal. I also noticed this with my car, so I made it look a lot better by using a real picture of the car as reference. After a few hours of work, I got tired and went to bed. Next day, I finished up the tile map and messed around with the controls for the car. I ended up going back to what I had originally because I couldn't find anything else that felt better for the game. I finally decided to add parking spots to the game, and after a little trial and error of getting them to look right, I felt pretty happy with them. Since you now had the ability to park, I decided to add a gold parking spot for each level, indicated by a yellow star. I hopped on over to Paint and drew up a pretty good looking star, and added it to the game. So far, it pretty much does nothing, but that will change in a minute. Since driving over grass is not as ideal as driving over the road, I had the car go slower while driving on it. I finished up the day by cleaning up my code a little bit and hit the sack. On the 3rd day, I added the ability to complete a level and go on to the next one, since a game with only one level is pretty boring. After struggling with that for a bit, I added a timer to the game in the top left-hand corner. Once you complete a level, it would reset back to 0. That's all I really got done on the 3rd day, so tomorrow was going to be a grind. On the final day of this challenge, I first added a 3rd level to the game, which was pretty easy, since all my level data was just stored in the list, and I just had to copy, paste, and change a few numbers to make a new level. After completing the level, you were greeted with your time and a star whether or not you parked well and fast enough. Then you just had to click to load and play the next level. The rest of the time I just spent on fixing bugs, since they're always there, and adding a tile to the game. And just like that, the game was finished. If you want to play the game, I have a link to where you can download it in the description of this video. I did try to make a web build for it, but found out that the compiler I was using didn't support SFML for web builds, and after trying for a few hours, just couldn't get it to work. Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.